I think it was about 8 years ago that just a remarkable old man came into my life. His name was Neil Groves, and I've mentioned him on another video because he gave me a couple of the coolest little old tools, including a Stanley block plane. The more I got to know Neil, the more profoundly he impressed me as a salt-of-the-earth man, a real man. Neil Groves was the kind of guy that as a young man, it would have been a real serious mistake to mess with. And as he got older, he got smarter. And when I say smarter, I mean more able to understand the people around him and bring the best parts of his personality to bear on his relationships. So anyhow, I met him, and sometime after that, he came up to my blacksmith shop and he saw what was going on here. And he brought me a couple of things from his collection of old stuff that really fit in nicely with my collection of old stuff. Neil had had an interesting life. His childhood was profoundly dysfunctional, and he left home, I think, when he was 14. It was one of those stories where a young man went out and became a man in a short period of time. Enlisted in the service, I think, when he was 17, had to lie to the recruiter. He worked for, I think, 30 years in Ajo, Arizona, which is just about that far north of the border and is hot all the time. And he worked in a big copper mine there, I think. And he would talk about that experience with fondness and with memories that were sweet to him of the men that he worked with. And I could tell that of the men that he worked with, among those who made the biggest impression on him was the blacksmith. This was long enough ago that a blacksmith had responsibility for keeping a mine working. And the blacksmith's name was Bill Stanley. I know that because Neil gave me this hammer. This is a 12-pound striking hammer. I know it's a striking hammer by the squattiness of it and the shortness of the handle, because this is nothing that you would ever take an uncontrolled roundhouse swing with. This is a hammer that you would work at an anvil with, where you need heavy blows that are controlled. Okay, that is a blacksmith striking hammer. Now, not only was his name Bill Stanley, but his social security number is here. So what that tells me is that Bill forged this. It was important to him, and he didn't want anybody walking off with it without at least having a chance of retrieving it. The other item that's come to me from that Ajo mine that was forged by Bill Stanley, that was given to Neil Groves, was this mechanic's bar. Now, that's not a complex forging, but it's neat to have these two examples of a blacksmith's effort in an industrial application in an earlier time. The other thing that Neil told me about Bill was he would say, "I am not the best blacksmith in the world, but I've never met anybody any better." So when Bill retired and Neil was still kind of in mid-stroke on his career, he sent these and some other items home with Neil. Is this my favorite tool in the shop? Not by a long shot. Is it in the top 25? I doubt it. But man, I like it. I like it because of the connection with a real smith who labored honorably in a brutally hot environment for a career. And for his attachment to a young man at the time who became a mentor to me. This is a cool thing. This is a bar. Okay, it's a simple forging, but they make a pretty nice set, don't they? So thanks, Neil. Thanks, Bill.